remember the very first moment or experience I had where I realized plastic was a huge problem that we're not addressing is I was surfing and I was in Indonesia and they had had a monsoon and the streets were all flooded and it was a huge torrential downpour. Well, the next day I go out to surf and every paddle stroke would be garbage on my arms. And it was like I couldn't put my feet down because it would hook up around my toes. And what was happening is the people would put the garbage in the storm drains. And when it rains, it pushed all of the garbage into the sea. Well, generally the currents take it away. So out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
But that day, the currents were bringing it back onto the beach. And so later that day, there were these bulldozers out on the beach, and they were combing the beach for the garbage. They just dug a big pit and put the garbage back in and covered it back up with sand. And I really realized, like, it's never going away. Like, it's a constant problem that keeps resurfacing, and we're just using more and more plastic every day. And plastic it's amazing, and it's done wonderful things, and it's allowed us to innovate in so many ways. But single-use plastic is something that is so central to my kind of my crusade right now. How can I minimize my own personal plastic use? You can use reusable containers, but like you say, like little baggies for sandwiches in your backpack and things that, you know, I'm not going to trust wrapping my sandwich in a piece of fabric and putting it in my backpack for the day. Like that, like I'm too concerned about my sandwich, and B, the contents of my pack. But these are so sticky and they stick to themselves that you could, Sue brought it up, making little bags out of them. So just make a little fabric bag and then treat it the way I'm going to show you how to do in this video. And you're done. You could even put 2 little buttons on these and then fold them around your sandwich and then fasten, you know, a rubber band between the buttons.
Yes.
So there's a lot of creative things you can do with this once you have the basic know-how. So we're going to get to business.
Yay.
So here are the fun fabrics.
Yay.
Of course I had to get some kitties.
Yes.
'Cause a lot of you know I'm a new kitty mama. You're a kitty mama.
Yes,
too.
I have 2. Yes.
So we got kitties, and this is just cotton. Now, these are fabrics that I went and purchased,
cute.
but you could also, and what would be even make it more rewarding, I think, is to use those old bed sheets, any sort of thin cotton fabric. The thin fabrics work really, really good because they seal so well. I've done this with linen, and it holds its shape really well, but it's thicker than you really need. So just any of the remnants at the fabric store, you can get them for a fraction of the price, and you only need a small piece of fabric.
Okay.
So that's really fun, but you could use an old dress shirt, whatever you have.
Right. And it's nice because there's different textures to these too. Like you said, some might be better for sandwich bags or sewing, some Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was even going to make a couple big ones for using for a loaf of bread. So I bring home or I make bread often, and what do you do with it? Put it in a paper bag, put it in a plastic bag. So this way I can just have like a big sheet and customize it for whatever you need, like what your needs are. So these are the ones that I made up the other day. These are 8x8s, which I think are really great for small bowls, for wrapping up just little bits of things. But I think maybe even 6x6 would be a good size. And then these are 10x10s, just to give you an idea reference-wise. And then I did some 14x14s, and then I think I did a 14x16. So this would be a great one for like a loaf of bread or something bigger that you want to seal up. So for this recipe, you're going to need pine resin. Now this is a little jar of pinyon pine resin, and I'll put all of these ingredients in a link below. They're in my Amazon store. You can also use just regular pine resin, and I think a 1 pound bag on Amazon was like $12. So it's not very expensive. But this recipe is really flexible. If you only want to do a few sheets, you don't need a pound of resin. You can just buy it in these little tubs. So that's another option. Some beeswax. And depending on how many you want to do, you want slightly more beeswax than you have resin. So either one of these chunks of beeswax would be about equivalent to what we're going to be melting. And you need some sort of carrier oil, preferably one that doesn't go rancid. Now, carrier oils are things like apricot kernel, jojoba is a good one, hemp oil would be a great one. I stay away from things like olive oil or any of the cooking oils that will impart like a funky, rancid smell. Sadly, we lost Sue. No, we didn't lose Sue. She's fine. But I lost the footage of the end of the video. I went to edit and it was just not there. We did have a little camera snafu at the end, so could have been user error. So I'm here to share our tips and tricks, things that we learn, things that I've learned from doing this project multiple times. That the thinner the cotton fabric, the better. Even though this seems like fairly thin, kind of quilting, just decorative fabric, it's not the best quality fabric. And interestingly enough, it didn't take the wax. It's kind of sitting on the top a little bit and has more of a texture. It didn't take the wax as well as the good quality. This is a really nice sheeting, shirting, shirt cotton. So in all the fabric stores, there'll be a little section for cotton shirting and you can buy it. But I think what would work the best are old sheets or old men's dress shirts that you want to cut up. They're ripped or stained or what have you. I think those would make fabulous, fabulous ones. I also learned making the first batch, I used jojoba oil. And the jojoba oil has a very different texture and consistency than the apricot kernel oil, which feels greasier and leaves a little bit of a residue on the glass and your hands. This does too, but not as bad. And the stickiness subsides with a little bit of use. It's just kind of like that new car smell. You just got to kind of deal with that right up front, that it's good. So here's what they look like. So here's a little one, and I've put some pecans in there, fold them onto themselves, and they stick to themselves. So like, that's not opening up on its own. Wonderful. I'm so stoked for these, to share these with you, especially those of you who make lunches on a daily basis. So because we had so much fun making them, we made lots of them, and I have giveaways. I have extra. So for those of you that want to buy some of them and help support my crafting habits and my video making, I'll put the sizes and the prices below. Now, I was in New Mexico, and one this size was $13.99, just to give you an idea, because it's not cheap. Like, this is wax from my bees, and this is pine resin harvested sustainably in the United States, and cute fabrics. So the prices will be below. They're usable, reusable. They'll last you a long time. But I have some giveaways too, because I like that even better. I've got 3 clusters. So here we go. I'm giving you an assortment of sizes and various fabrics. So these 3 will be given out to 3 different people. I'll select you at random. How you enter is you leave a comment below. And if you want to enter twice. Share this video on social media and tell me where you shared it. And I'll put your name in twice, and that doubles your chances for winning. So yeah, I'm so stoked. Look at these kitties. They're so cute. I want to share this with all of you. If you have anybody crafty in your life, the other day when I made 20 of them out of this red fabric, it took me maybe an hour from start to finish, beginning to end. Yes, that's what I want to say. So it's not a really laborious process. It's a little sticky. You've got to have, your throwaway pot and things like that. So I understand not everybody's going to want to make them, but I want you to share this video with people that will, because this is a really cool way that each of us can reduce our daily consumption of single-use plastic. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. And thanks for watching. And I look forward to your comments below. And I will announce the winners. Maybe I'll give you a week. Give the video a week for it to be shared and people to participate in the giveaway. I cannot leave you without telling you how to wash your hands, because this is wax and it's resin and it's sticky. It's non-soluble, so soap and water doesn't really touch this very well. My beautiful and talented, amazing girlfriend, Elizabeth Gorick in California, wonderful artist, and just lovely, beautiful human being. We were painting last week or 2 weeks ago together, and she uses lotion, just normal lotion. In this case, it's Carina Organics Unscented, to clean your hands. So what soap and water cannot do, lotion can. So oil paints, anything like that, you just wipe it off. Now, you probably don't want this stuff going through your washer and dryer, so I'm using paper towels in this case. But you might need two sessions with the lotion, but it leaves your hands so soft, so beautiful, and not sticky at all. So Sue and I had fingers that look like, when you dip, like as a kid, you dip them in candles and mess around. You have these like waxy blob fingers. We had waxy blob fingers like that, and the lotion is enough to get it all off. So a little tip and trick for you. If you're dealing with oily, greasy things, wash it with another oily, greasy thing. But in this case, lotion, which isn't really oily or greasy, but you know what I mean.